Hi Bulldogs, good to see you again. Today we're talking about metronomes, BPM, and tempo. Now first we're going to kind of talk through what those different words mean and how they relate to music. And then we are going to do an at-home activity where you can make your own metronome. So let's get started. What is a metronome? I have a couple of different metronomes in my house, and it's a device that's used to keep a steady beat. In music, we have beat, which is something that's consistent, like a heartbeat. It stays the same. And that beat can be fast, or it could be slow. Now, rhythms can change. They can be syncopated, and they can be complicated, or they can be simple rhythms. Here's a couple different rhythms. Or another one. Or one more. But those change, and a beat, as opposed to rhythm, beat stays the same. So I have one metronome here, and I'll show you a few more that I have. This one has a light here and a little knob that I can turn, and based on where I turn it, it is going to set up a tempo. So let's start with a fast tempo, a fast beat. Tempo is just telling us what that BPM is going to be. Let's start with the fast one. This is 208, and that number is the BPM. BPM stands for beats per minute, and right now this light and the click is happening 208 times every minute. That's pretty fast. Let's move on down to 160. Now it's a little bit slower, still fast. This is 160 beats a minute. What if we go much, much slower? All the way down to 60. Now my metronome is showing me what a tempo of 60 BPM is. 60 beats per minute. With 60 beats per minute, there is one click, one beat every second. Now this tempo we would call slow. On my metronome it says largo. That's an Italian word, a musical word that just means slow. We have largo, adagio, a bit faster, andante, even faster. Andante in Italian means like walking. So this is maybe a walking pace. If you were walking, that would be the tempo, right? How fast or how slow. Let's go faster. Allegro. And finally, my metronome goes all the way up to presto. Now we're at just about 200 BPM, 200 beats per minute. A pretty fast tempo for sure. Let's check out another metronome. Okay, I'm back with another metronome. This one's on my phone. And similarly, it keeps a steady beat. I can change that steady beat so it can be fast. That's a lot of beats per minute. That's a fast tempo. Or I can change it so it's slower. Ooh, that's very slow. There wouldn't be many beats per minute. A minute stays the same no matter what. So we can change how many beats we want to fit in that amount of time. Let's start off with a fast tempo. This is 155 beats per minute. And I'm going to play a song on my violin at that tempo. Here we go. Okay, and now I'm going to take my metronome. I'm going to turn down the speed. I'm going to make a slower tempo, fewer beats per minute. This is now 48. 48 beats per minute. The same song is going to be much slower at this tempo. It would sound like this. So you can see how tempo is an important aspect of music. We need to all establish the same beat and be consistent with that, so that way when we play these fancy rhythms and do other things, we all have that same steady beat. And that's what a conductor does. A conductor is someone who, instead of using a metronome, uses their hand to keep a steady beat so everyone's playing together at the same time. Next, I thought we could make a metronome together. I have a few ideas of how I could keep a steady beat, and I'm going to use some things that I have at my own house, and then maybe you could use some things that you have lying around to make your own metronome. So let's get to it. Right, so we're trying to make a metronome at home. My first idea is my own wristwatch. My wristwatch has a second hand and it consistently keeps a beat. It stays the same and the second hand goes around, and as it does, it makes a small little click sound. There are 60 seconds in a minute, and so that means the BPM of my wristwatch, the beats per minute, is 60. We have a tempo of 60 BPM. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 beats in a minute. I think we can get a little bit more creative though. Let's try another one. My second homemade metronome is this setup here. I've got my bathtub faucet going into a bowl of water, and my plan is to turn on the faucet and then slowly turn it back off so I get a slow, steady drip, and that is my second homemade metronome. I would imagine this tempo would be maybe even less, maybe even slower than 60 beats a minute. So let's see. Let's see if we can get a slow, steady drip of water. Here we go. Nice. To me, that seems that kind of pace is a very slow tempo. There are not many beats, not many drips that would happen in 1 minute. Let's try another way. All right, we've got another metronome set up here. In my house, I found a heavy pot and I tied it with a string to something sturdy up above so I can create a pendulum and get it swinging back and forth. I then took something that it could hit that would make a noise. Here I have a head massager, and so if I hold this down and I get my pendulum going, it can create a metronome. I've created a steady beat, and I'd say the tempo of that is pretty slow too. If I get out my metronome here on my phone, I would say it's something around, let's say, I think it was about 40. So again, that 40 stands for 40 beats per minute. Last but not least, I came up with another way to create a metronome at home. I have here a turntable, which is a way to play records normally, but on top of that I've put on some wire and a glass. So this turntable, this plate is going to spin around, and it will cause this wire to hit my glass and again create a steady beat and thereby create my own home metronome. So if I move the arm, it should start to spin. And that wire, although hard to see, is moving around the turntable and hitting the glass. Right now, the turntable is set to 33, and that is essentially meaning that it's turning around 33 times per minute. So our tempo is 33. There are 33 beats per minute. If I change the speed to 45, it's going to speed up just slightly, and now our tempo is 45. So, can you find a way to keep a steady beat at your own house and create a metronome? You could use a drip of water like I showed, or a pendulum, or any other creative way that you can find to keep a steady beat, and then find out what is the tempo of that beat. How many beats are there per minute? All right, see you next time.